This will be a condensed version of the last 3 van videos that I posted to the other channel. If you're interested in seeing the full version, follow the link to the other channel. At the end of part 4, we cut the hatches into the storage area of the couch and bed. Now we'll add the pieces to support the hatches. So we've got the first few pieces of the aluminum in here. So here's what I ended up with. So I have 1/2-inch flathead machine screws, and then I have T-nuts, and then I'm cutting off the little barbs, and it leaves just little teeny nubs which grips into the aluminum bar wonderfully, and so it holds it together really well. So the opening is 8 by 12, and I've got these 12-inch aluminum bars. I've already pre-drilled these. I drilled the one, measured it and drilled it, and then stacked them one on top of the other and drilled through the same holes so I could have it pretty close to the same on each of them. Marking where each screw hole goes. All right. And then I'm taking these and clipping off those little points. So just taking all 4 of those off. I'll do that to each one of them, and that fits onto that, or through the hole, and what's left of those little tabs still are rough enough to grab into the aluminum just fine. Okay, and then I'm just tightening it enough to pull that head below the surface of the ply. So here's the pieces that are going to be the short sides. So I cut them as a whole stack. I just left them clamped together and cut it to length, and then cut the little step in there, and that should match up with the pieces that are already in there. So I have the hatches on there. Next we'll be figuring out how I'm going to hold these in place. As far as opening those, I think I'm just going to put a little tab of fabric on those, because those gravity will take care of holding them shut, but these get flipped over, so I'll need to do something to hold them into place. My plan is to drill a hole centered where this is going to go, and it'll be a 3/4 inch hole. And then we'll square that off with some hand tools, and we should be able to slide that in right along that face of the bottom portion, and that will slide out and support this when we need to use it for the head part. Okay, so 3 more of those. Okay, so this is what the aluminum pieces look like from the back side. And by using these T-nuts that I cut down, it's a very low profile in that area. So this is the position that I want them in, and then they will slide out to support the little headboard piece. So there it is with that extension, and I can take these clamps off when it's in this position. So there's the supports, and they would just be sitting here. Slide them in, have it stop there, and have stops at each end, and then it would be pulled out the amount, and it would stop at that position, and of course then that would hold it out there. It's a little bit awkward. It's not terribly heavy. I don't know what it weighs yet because I haven't gotten that far to weighing it. But lift it up a little bit and slide it in. I'm going to cover the floor with these. So I have a set of 4 of these. That side will be a cut edge in the back, and this side can be tucked under so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to cut this about 3/4 of an inch longer than the piece of wood here, because I want to be able to trim it to fit this area where I have this piece here. Okay, this will be tucked under there. The crank down for the spare tire is inside here, and the question is, would I be able to access it from the hatch? Well, I completely forgot about that. Hopefully I would never need to use it, but it's a good, legitimate call. I am so glad that he brought it up so that I could check it. So it's right there. So the angle allows me to put the little tool thing in there to crank the tire down. So I did a quick check and it works, but I would just have to remove whatever I have stored in this particular spot, roll that up, and I can get to it. And I have no idea if these are going to rattle at all. So they very well might. And so probably put something between those two layers to make sure it doesn't happen. Okay, that just gives me some little simple handles for now. This time I'm adding rain guards to the roll down windows on the van. So the front 4 windows, the 2 on each side. They'll make it so that I can open the window an inch or so and have ventilation, but still having the top of the window opening covered. I've never had a car with these rain guards on before, but my sister has for years and says they work great for her. All right, I think that looks nice. That allows me to open the window. I know a lot of people have these already and they come standard on some cars. I've never had one before, but I wanted to be able to have that so we could open a little bit and get ventilation. Okay, we'll get the back one on. Of course, I already washed all of this very, very well, scrubbed it down with some alcohol, made sure it's nice and clean. And this one has a step right there, and the plastic does also. But I also need to put some marks of tape so I get it the right level. I'm trying to make sure it's as low as possible, so the least amount of coverage as possible so that it has the biggest opening. Do the same to the other side. So I've cleaned all of this pretty well with alcohol already, but I've got the wipes that came with it, so I'm going to wipe it down one more time just to make sure. I'm going to do this front one first, and this edge of it here goes under this edge. So I've got the little plastic tools, and just pull that up just a touch. And I'll double check this end. Okay, just double checking the height and marking it with a piece of tape so I get the right height. That's the starting point. So removing the backing. So I'm going to just angle it good so I don't get the tape stuck. Squish that tape on there real good, make sure it's stuck. Okay, on this back edge, there's this lip here, and it corresponds with the trim on that area. So you have to make sure that that lines up. And so I will start it at that end. These tape pieces on all 3 sides, I'll start with this one, peel off part of that, and wait till I'm close before I peel off that edge. But I can get it started so that it'll be easier to do when we get there. Okay. And just press it on as hard as you can. So that's it on that. And then we have the ability to leave those windows down a little bit and get air through those and still have them protected. So this is what the little shelf looks like so far. We have 6 of the little cube things in there so far. So they are a tight fit, which shouldn't be a problem for what our plan is. So this is a cardboard model of the side of the cabinet of the little shelves stacked one upon the other. So this would be the front, or one on top of the other. And this is the linkage that I'm planning on using to move it from the up position to the down position. This linkage would help keep everything in line and help me raise and lower it. This is the finished one of those. So cut that out and drill the holes. So 3D print a plastic sleeve to go around that, then I end up with a nice snug fit. Get that cut out and then the holes cut. And technically, of course, it doesn't matter if I cut these. I just like the rounded look better. It would work just the same if it were not cut. Get the holes cut in those. All right, and done. So these are little blanks that are going to be the end caps on that shelf unit. So it should be just right. It's a nice snug fit. It fits perfectly in this location and when this gets down stacked. So we'll give this a try. I'll get these screwed on. I'll get the other side. So we've got the rings printed, and that is just a nice snug fit. Fits right on there, and then fits into the space just right. That's a snug fit, but it rotates easily, and that's what I'm after. I can put it back in the van and give it a test. It sets down all the way. It pretty much locks itself into place. The biggest thing left is really the cushions that are going to be the bed and convert to the couch. So that I'll be working on soon. So we've got all of these structural components in place. Just got that shelf area the way I'm real happy with the way it's moving. I need to still add handles. So next I'm going to add this webbing. So I need a hole through here, and I'm going to drill at it an angle. That way it'll have an edge there for it to help grab on. And then I can wrap this around here and staple it back on this side so it's wrapped all the way around, has plenty of strength to hold in place. Okay, that feels like it should hold real well. Okay, so that makes a nice cut, a nice clean and sealed. That worked out well. The force on that is pulling this direction. That has a lot of holding power. I think that should be very good. Now this piece needs to be long enough to go around the toilet piece and have room for the buckles and attach to this portion of it. Now set this back in there. Okay, that goes on there. And we'll get it cut right there. Wow, nice. That definitely cuts this stuff nicely. We'll get the slot in here. So we'll get that piece reinstalled. So I've got that spacer. So put this on there. Now I need to get this cut and the buckle in. I think that's it. I could add a second one if I think I need to, but the way that this is put together, this can't lift. It can't lift on either side, so the only thing it can do is slide out. Well, that prevents it from sliding out, so I think I'm completely solid now. We still had a couple of these magnetic catch things from child safety lock things for cabinets. So this little latch just catches onto the edge there. Now, I'm going to do the same thing on that one. So we'll get that one taken care of. Well, let's go test it out. I have this first hatch really complete. So I added the other piece under here. I added this plastic piece that came with that cabinet lock piece. Anyway, so I added that to the bottom of the aluminum. I don't know if I showed that. So we've got the little magnetic catch piece and the aluminum piece that I bent so it'll grab onto the aluminum rail. So now, and that locks into place. So that holds it tight, and then I can open it up using the magnet. We'll finish that other one next. So of course it has the catch, but now I need to add that other plastic piece in there. This is the little plastic piece that goes on the other side, and it interacts with that curved piece there. So I will screw it to the bottom of this. So I've got that piece on there. Now I can reattach it, put it back into place. Now we'll check this to see how it fits. Okay, I bought some cargo net stuff that's made for putting in various places in the car. I'm putting it on these side pieces. I figured we could stuff whatever we want into those, maybe our jackets or something. I'm not real sure. That was a pretty big space, and I wanted to be able to use it. Now cut off the excess of the zip ties. I find that these almost always leave a razor sharp point, so I like to go back and shave off the end flush with the whole body portion of it, and that way it leaves a nice edge that's no sharp pieces left on it. All right, let's go put it back in place and see what it looks like. That looks good. So I'll screw that back into place, and then that side is done, at least for now. Got this netting on there. Got it zip tied around this front part, which allows us to, the ceiling portion will be up here, so that leave a little gap, and we can pull this forward and down to put things in and out, and it has the kind of pocket area in the front, so I think that should work. And by using just a bunch of zip ties, we have some flexibility to, of course, change it out easily, and to just change our minds, and all it'll have is some small holes in the side, so not a big deal. Now we need some handle pieces to be able to guide it up and down as we're moving it. Okay, so So there's my handle to help me move it up and down so I can kind of grab it like this, I hope. So we'll find out. They'll do the same to the other side and we'll be back and try it out. With these handle blocks up here, it's real easy to just swing this down here, and it's quite stable at this spot, especially after this gets weight in the bottom. It'll be quite stable. Real easy to pull it up, because again, you're kind of pulling it into a circle, and it supports itself pretty well. All right, that's all of that for now.